In this Star Wars Outlaws news update video, I will be sharing with you a big development update from the Outlaws team as they discuss what to expect in the coming weeks and the future of the game. Before we do take a look at that and more, make sure you do subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any future news updates on Star Wars Outlaws. Firstly, I want to share with you something that is for the new DLC, which I found as I was finishing off this video. I thought I'd put it right at the start because it's about the new DLC. So a few weeks ago, we got the roadmap for Star Wars Outlaws, and it contained the key art for Wildcard, the first story DLC. But it was quite small on the roadmap and it was heavily compressed, so it was quite low resolution if you just take the key art. Well, I was sleuthing around to find anything I could about Wildcard, any images like this, and on Ubisoft's website, here it is, an extended and high resolution version of the key art for Wildcard. We get to see a little bit more of this droid that is in the middle, and then we have this back table with Lando on the right, Kay on the left, other characters and a hologram in the middle. I'm very much looking forward to this back-themed DLC, and we'll be getting more details soon. Now on to an answer to a question that many of you have asked in the comment sections of my previous videos. What actual changes were made to the AI in the most recent update, because the patch notes were very vague, and I have good news. So this is coming directly from the previous creative director on Star Wars Outlaws, more details on that later on in the video, Julian Garrity. He responded to someone asking the same question as you guys and said, from what I understand, NPCs are now more differentiated in terms of behaviour by archetypes, and they all use cover better. So that's a good improvement. Plus, stealth detection from NPCs has been tweaked too. Next up, we have an official update about the game running on PS5 Pro. So in previous videos, I shared how on the PlayStation Store webpage and on consoles that the game was listed as PS5 Pro Enhanced, but we didn't know if that meant a patch was going to release on launch day or after launch. We just had no idea what that actually meant. Well, Sony actually released a blog post yesterday announcing that over 50 plus enhanced titles will be available on launch day, which is November 7th, Thursday. And if you go into the list, you'll see that Star Wars Outlaws is one of the listed titles, along with Jedi Survivor. So both of those Star Wars games will be PS5 Pro enhanced day one without the requirements of an update. So you'll just be able to play those games as soon as you get your PS5 Pro console, and it will be enhanced in some way. We don't have actual details of what those enhancements will be for Star Wars Outlaws just yet, but we'll find out soon enough. It may just be as simple as running quality mode at, say, 60 frames per second using PSSR, but who knows? We just don't know at this moment in time, and I'll keep you guys updated. So as soon as anything is confirmed by either Sony or Star Wars Outlaws' team, I'll make a video. So last night, Star Wars Outlaws' official social accounts shared their first dev update, number one titled Pushing into the Hyperdrive. The blog post reads that this is welcoming us to our first dev update, and these will be focusing on bringing us regular insights from the developers as they continue post-launch support for Star Wars Outlaws. They go on to say that they've been listening to our feedback and taking action in the key areas such as stealth, and as we've seen with the previous title updates, they've already made changes to the game, but they are continuing to do that, and they are going to reinforce that our priority is giving you the best Star Wars experience possible. And then the blog post is handed on over to Drew Reckner, who is the new creative director. So I'll discuss more on this later on in the video because there has been some confusion and misinformation, and it's very strange what people are saying, but it's nothing to be worried about. Drew starts off by saying he's very excited to be stepping into the role of creative director, and he's going to be working with the Star Wars Outlaws team to take on our feedback and look forward to the future. The main talking point of this dev update was to share the next priority areas that they are looking to address to ensure Star Wars Outlaws is the best experience possible. He said before launch and continuing into post-launch, they've been gathering data and listening to fans. This takes place not only through their own analytics and user tests, reviews and media feedback, but also through the bug reporter platform, press reports, and of course YouTube videos, Reddit, Discord, and other social media posts. He says that they do care deeply about our experience with the game, and they are using all of this data and feedback to reduce any friction points that we're encountering and what we're actually enjoying, to also bring more of that fun to further improve various parts of the game. There are 3 key areas that they are looking to improve the game further in. The first key area is an improvement to the game's combat, where we see a real opportunity to add more depth and excitement to the experience, further rewarding your tactics and precision. We don't have any real actual details of what this will entail, but we'll find out soon. The next area is stealth, which they've already iterated upon in the previous updates, but they really want to continue to improve it. So it's not just about improving readability and consistency of enemy detection, but also providing choice in how you want to approach each encounter. The third key area is character controls, which means improving the reliability of cover, increasing responsiveness of climbing and crouching, and generally improving the consistency of the controls overall. Obviously, all of that was very vague. We didn't have any actual details on what will be changed in the future, but Drew does say that we can expect to see more details on how player choice will be embraced and celebrated more than ever before, and specific details on these changes and areas will be coming in the next few weeks. This will all culminate with the release of Title Update 1.4, which will be released on November 21st alongside the Steam launch and the first DLC and free contracts. At the time of recording this video, we are just about 2 weeks away from the release of Wildcards, so seeing as this was our news update for this week, I'd expect to see more details on what to expect in Title Update 1.4 next week. The blog post ends by thanking us for all of the support, and they are working hard at bringing many requested changes in Title Update 1.4, which will be the biggest update yet, on November 21st. I now want to dive into this weird controversy about Drew taking over as creative director, because I've seen some really stupid articles over the past few hours, which is just so frustrating to me as someone who is enjoying the game and is covering the game, because these games journalists just do zero research into what they put out when it comes to Star Wars games, it seems like. So, a bit of background on Drew. Firstly, Drew is the new creative director on Star Wars Outlaws. He previously was the associate game director on Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, Massive's previous game, before Outlaws released. He also worked on The Division 1 and 2 at Massive as a game designer. Now, if you have watched some of my previous news updates on Star Wars Outlaws, or just taken any interest in keeping up with the game at all, you'll know that Julian, the creative director who worked on Star Wars Outlaws since the inception, has talked about leaving the game because he had another job, which was announced last September, over a year ago. This is not news, guys. I keep seeing these articles about doom and gloom. This is bad news for Outlaws. No. It was announced last September Julian will be taking the reins of the Division franchise as the Division 3 gets underway. He would be exiting Star Wars Outlaws once the game is out. That's what Ubisoft told us over a year ago. Then, when Outlaws needed some patches, he actually was able to stay behind on Outlaws for the last couple of months to keep working to improve the game, which is great. That was good. Ubisoft did a good thing allowing him to stay and work on the game, to listen to our feedback and continue to improve the game. Him exiting now is not a bad sign. Why these journalists, so-called games journalists who don't do any research on Star Wars Outlaws whatsoever, keep putting a negative slant on everything, I don't know, it's ridiculous. It just harms the game even more. They're kicking something that's down already, for no reason. Like I said, if you watch my previous videos, Julian had a very positive attitude to the post-launch stuff, and he was sad that he was having to move on, but he knew it was necessary, because ultimately, he's from the Division side of things. He wants to go and work on the Division. He's put everything he has into Star Wars Outlaws. I've been lucky enough to meet Julian on a few occasions and speak to him. I've had interviews with him. You can watch those. And he was deeply passionate about Star Wars and this game and did a great job. He just really did. This is just all natural progression of how Ubisoft works with their post-launch support of their games. Assassin's Creed did this. I believe The Division even did this in the past as well. But as soon as Star Wars Outlaws does it, oh no, it's doom and gloom, and all these articles have to be made because negativity sells. People that don't like this game, people that don't even own this game, that have never played this game, all will click on these articles and continue to hate the game, even though if they actually knew that this was completely fine, not a problem, the article wouldn't get any clicks, because they wouldn't care. It's really frustrating, because these games journalists are the ones to complain when a game studio is shut down by a publisher and there's tons of layoffs, but then they continue to just add to the negativity around a game that harms its reputation, harms its success. That's hypocritical, because they are fostering the hatred while simultaneously being upset when there are layoffs, games don't do very well. Another thing I've seen some of these journalists say is that people don't want post-launch content for this game and stuff like that. You have no idea what Star Wars gamers want. You are just not in this fan base. Since EA took over the license, fans have been clamouring for more DLC, paid DLC mind you, or free content updates. People are still begging Respawn for just a free update to give them a mode from Fallen Order in Survivor over a year after release. People care about these games passionately. I'm one of those people, and these journalists just don't have any idea what the actual fans do think about these games. There are people that want this single-player game to continue to get more content as time goes on, because they love it, they've done everything so far, even though it's a huge game. Outlaws is a big game with tons of stuff to do, but they want even more because they love the game. It's ridiculous. It's so annoying. That said, there is going to be a bright future ahead for Star Wars Outlaws, because there's a big update coming in just a couple of weeks' time with a big story DLC and some free content for those that don't want to purchase the DLC. I also wanted to add some comments from Ubisoft themselves. They released their financial report late last week, and they told investors that Outlaws did underperform expectations, but the recent updates have produced tangible, significant results and meaningful community sentiment improvement. A larger audience is expected this Christmas, which makes sense. Every Star Wars game at Christmas just gets a huge bump. Some people told me that's not the case. Not true. Jedi Survivor, which released in April last year, saw a significant rise in sales in December. Black Friday discounts, just purchases for Christmas as a Christmas present. Star Wars at Christmas always tends to do well. LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga 2022, April release date, also saw a significant boost in December. Outlaws is more recent and is ultimately going to see more copies sold in December. Some Star Wars fans don't go and rush out to get the latest Star Wars game. They wait until a birthday or a Christmas, and then they get it. And that's fine. It happened with Jedi Survivor, happened with Battlefront 2, happened with LEGO Star Wars, happened with Fallen Order, and it will happen with Outlaws. I'd love to hear your thoughts on everything I've discussed in this video, so please do let me know down in the comment section below, and I will be reading all of them and try to respond as many as possible. And if you did enjoy this video, please do drop a like to help support the channel. Subscribe so you don't miss any future news updates on Star Wars Outlaws, because there are plenty of them coming. And if you did miss any of my previous videos, click on the playlist on screen right now, and I shall see you in my next video. Goodbye.